Board meeting for Thursday, February 20th, 2020. I'd like to call the meeting to order. We'll do the roll call and establish a quorum, beginning on my right.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Elizabeth Woods. I've been appointed by the governor, and I'm a family nurse practitioner.
Michael Jackson, appointed by the governor in the faculty role.
Donna Gerber, appointed by the Speaker of the Assembly, and I'm a public member. Good morning.
Good morning. Imelda Ceja Betquitz, appointed by the governor as a public member.
Good morning, Ken Marlborough. I'm appointed by the Senate Rules Committee, and I'm a public member.
Thank you very much. And our acting,
Loretta Melby, acting BO.
thank you very much, everyone. We're going to move along to item 2.0, and this item will be tabled because the minutes were not posted online at this time, so that will be tabled. And we will reorder the agenda to item 7.2.2. Is Jeanette here? Good morning. We have to reorder the agenda to item 7.2.2 because there's a conflict with the APRN meeting and Jeanette has to be there.
Thank you very much, so much for the consideration. And I'm giving you the requirement that I asked for information to be placed on the board's website that has to do with physician assistants new law.
Oh, 7.2.
7.2.2 is first,
What is it?
College of the Sequoias.
College of the
Oh.
Sequoias.
It's a consent agenda.
She doesn't?
Okay,
No.
let's do, well, you have to vote on it.
So item 7.2.2 is recommend ratification and approval of pre-licensure program unit adjustment and other changes for College of the Sequoias Associate's Degree Program. I make a recommendation that we accept.
Second.
Any comments related to this? Call for the vote, starting on my right.
Elizabeth Woods, yes.
Michael Jackson, yes.
Donna Gerber, yes.
Imelda Ceja Betquitz, yes.
Ken Marlborough, yes.
Thank you very much. Moving right along to the 10.0 is report of the Nursing Practice Committee.
I wish I knew this ahead of time. You know, it would be helpful.
We'll turn the report of the Nursing Practice Committee over to the chair, Betty Woods.
And there's only one thing on the agenda as I see it. Jeanette's going to give, am I correct?
I'll try to collect my thoughts now. Thank you very much. We're
Okay.
presenting to you today a bill that was passed by Senate and Assembly and signed by the governor. It's SB 697 and it's chapter to 707. It's the Physician Assistant Practice Act, and there's some great changes for them based on this bill change. So I'm going to just read it very briefly to you.
Excuse me, Jeanette, did you say gray or great?
Great.
No, I'm sorry, I didn't hear the word that you
Oh.
used.
They are straightforward changes to their Practice Act. And the reason that I'm putting it on the agenda is because many of the students in MP programs are precepted by PAs. It also, for our out-of-state online programs, they would need to know this information to determine whether or not the practice site is a legal site, because it reconfigures how the PA functions. And so they have a board now, and I want to read it because I might mess it up if I don't read it, okay? All right. So the bill that passed was placed January 1st, 2020, and has made numerous changes to the Physician Practice Act, Physician Assistant Practice Act. Generally, the new law removes the requirement that a medical record identify the responsible supervising physician for the physician assistant. It also it no longer requires that the physician be physically present at the time that the physician assistant is consulting And it removes the requirement for review and countersign of the patient's medical records. And removes the requirement that written guidelines for adequate supervision be established. The new law instead authorizes the physician assistant to perform medical services authorized by the Act if certain requirements are met, including the medical services are rendered pursuant to a practice agreement and as defined, and the physician assistant is competent to perform the medical services. There are other things in the bill that are pertinent, and that has to do with controlled substances 2 through 3, in which the physician assistant now has authority through a practice agreement to provide those two classes of drugs, like I said. But I think that our public will do well by not having to find this document on the physician assistant website, but be able to go directly to it from our website. And I'll put a link in there.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Anything else, Jeanette?
That's all.
Thank you.
Item 3.0 is report on board member activities. Seeing none. Seeing none, moving along to item 4.0, executive officer report. There's none to report. And item 6.0, report of the administrative committee. And this is item 6.1, discussion and possible action regarding new Board of Registered Nursing logo. The materials in your board packet. Remember, we had chosen that first one.
That's A. Oh, sorry.
We had chosen the A. It's the top one.
No, it's not A.
It's not.
It's not designated. There's two logos that are in black and white, and they're above this line.
It's this one right here.
Got it.
Yeah.
Is that what you're moving or recommending?
My recommendation is that we accept that logo to go forward as the BRN's logo.
It's the, which one?
It's the top one, first
On the
one.
left.
Okay,
On
first
the
one,
left.
first one on the left.
On the
The
left.
black and white.
Yes.
I don't know, I kind of like the purple one.
You want some with color?
I
don't
like,
care.
I like the color. I
Which
mean,
one?
Well, I like the purple and black, or,
Tell me which one is purple and black. I'm colorblind.
C.
They have letters. C.
See?
or, let me see, there's another, that's it. Oh, that,
The blue.
I mean, I,
She's pointing to either A or C. I believe, C.
Mhm.
I feel like I'm a translator. Well, did you make a motion?
Mike
I
made a
just-
motion, I'm sorry.
I withdraw
Jackson
my
made a
motion.
Oh, you withdraw?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I'm not a color scheme kind of person. We can have some color.
I mean,
I would be fine with A, for what it's worth, if somebody wants to make a motion for that one.
Oh, so,
Mhm.
well.
that's a
Michael
black and white one?
withdrew his motion, so if you would like to make the motion,
I think Imelda is
Oh.
Made a motion.
And A is the,
that one.
Blue
that
and
one?
black.
does the rest of the board like that one, or do you like the purple one? Not because it's SEIU colors, but I like purple.
okay, and which one did Imelda move to adopt?
She
I'm
hasn't.
sorry.
I could, again, I could either go for the A or the C, which is a purple. I like color in my life. I don't know about everybody else.
Hey. All right. I'm colorblind. I can't see purple and
Do you
green.
have any preference?
No, I'm gonna go along with that.
He wants it to be fire engine red.
Oh, yeah.
I'm all right with that.
I like A, it's fine.
There's your first and second.
Well, sort of, actually. So
I'll make the
There's no-
second.
There's no motion.
there's no motion. That's, yeah. So if somebody would like to move A,
I would like to make a motion that we
What's that?
vote.
Oh, we do need to pick a color scheme.
In black and white color.
so why don't you come over here and
And
present?
explain.
Thank you.
Tell
Is
us.
there somebody with you? Who is that with you? Oh,
This is an item that the board really needs direction on,
can you
please.
introduce
Is this
yourself,
on?
please?
Good morning, Yvonne Leonard, Assistant Executive Officer.
Veronica Harms, Deputy Director of Communications for the Department of Consumer Affairs.
Welcome. So Veronica, what are the state colors?
The state or the Department of Consumer
The
Affairs?
state.
State, their seal is black and white,
The seal is black and white,
yes.
but the state colors, like in the flag, and
I'm looking, it's
there you
with the
go.
bear,
red.
red, green, white.
Brown, black.
So the logo design has been chosen. What you are looking at right now are color options.
Okay.
So you will always have a black and white version for any documents that you need to produce in black and white.
So we just need to choose a color option.
Yes.
Okay. What about E?
E is that one. Make a motion, Imelda.
I think there's already a motion, right?
Oh, no, there's not.
No, there's not.
I thought you made a motion for A.
I'll make a motion for. I'd like to make a motion for the logo and under numeral A or letter A.
All right.
I will
With-
second
I
that.
was gonna say
Should
with,
second.
okay, I was gonna say, Ms. Seho Buckwitz started with the motion, and then so who wants to be the motion? and who
I'll
wants to
make
be
the motion for A.
Any comment?
Yeah, I already seconded it.
Any comments related to this? All right, call for the public comment related to the logo.
No comment.
All right, seeing none, call for the vote.
Elizabeth Woods, yes.
Michael Jackson, yes.
Donna Gerber, yes.
Imelda Seha Buckwitz, yes.
Ken Marlboro, yes.
All right, thank you. That only took like 4 years. All right, moving along to item 7.0, report of the Education Licensing Committee. Would our liaison please introduce yourself?
Thank you. Mary Ann McCarthy, Nursing Education Consultant and Liaison to the Education and Licensing Committee. Item number 7.1, discuss and possible action regarding Education Licensing Committee recommendation to ratify minor curriculum revisions and acknowledge receipt of program progress reports. According to board policy, nursing education consultants may approve minor curriculum changes that do not significantly alter philosophy, objectives, or content. Approvals must be reported to the Education Licensing Committee and to the board. Minor curriculum revisions include the following categories: curriculum changes, work study programs, preceptor programs, public health certificate programs, progress reports that are not related to continuing approval, and approved nurse practitioner programs adding a category of specialization. The following programs listed under 7.1 have submitted minor curriculum revisions that have been approved by the NECs.
Item 7.1, I'm making a recommendation that we accept.
Second,
Are there any public comments related to item 7.1? Seeing no public comment, call for the vote.
Elizabeth Woods, yes.
Michael Jackson, yes.
Donna Gerber, yes.
Imelda Seha Buckwitz, yes.
Ken Marlboro, yes.
Agenda item 7.2, discussion and possible action regarding the Education and Licensing Committee recommendations. 7.2.1, recommend ratification of applications for pre-licensure programs continuing approval. The BRN staff have conducted regularly scheduled continuing approval visits for the schools listed in agenda item 7.2.1. This process begins with a self-study written by the nursing program and analyzed by the assigned nursing education consultant. It is followed by a 2 to 3 day visit, including visits to clinical sites, verifying resources, and meetings with students, faculty, and administrators. The following programs have met all board rules and regulations for continuing approval of pre-licensure nursing program. This is a consent agenda item.
Item 7.2, I make a recommendation that we accept.
Second.
Any public comment related to item 7.2? Seeing no public comment, call for the vote.
Elizabeth Woods, yes.
Michael Jackson, yes.
Donna Gerber, yes.
Imelda Seja Bedquez, yes.
Ken Marlboro, yes.
7.2.2 has been addressed. Okay. 7.2.3, recommend ratification of applications for advanced practice programs, continuing approval for Loma Linda University Advanced Practice Nurse Practitioner Program. The BRN staff have conducted a regularly scheduled continuing approval visit for Loma Linda University Advanced Practice Nurse Practitioner Program. The process, again, began with a self-study written by the nursing program and analyzed by the assigned nursing education consultant. It was followed by a 2 to 3 day visit, including visits to practicum sites, verifying resources, and meetings with students, faculty, and administrators. Loma Linda University Advanced Practice Nurse Practitioner Program has met all board rules and regulations for continuing of approval of an advanced practice Advanced Practice Nurse Practitioner Program. This is a consent agenda item.
Item 7.2.3, I make a recommendation that we accept. We heard
I'll
this at
second that.
DLC. Any public comments related to item 7.2.3? Call for the vote.
Elizabeth Woods, yes.
Michael Jackson, yes.
Donna Gerber, yes.
Imelda Seja Bedquez, yes.
Ken Marlboro, yes.
All right.
Agenda item 7.2.4, recommend acceptance of program progress report from Pre-Licensure Nursing Program, Compton College Associate Degree Nursing Program. The BRN staff have evaluated a scheduled progress report submitted from Compton College Associate Degree Nursing Program and have found Compton College to be making positive progress. This is a consent agenda item.
Item 7.2.4, I make a recommendation we accept.
Second.
Public comment related to item 7.2.4. Seeing none, call for the vote.
Elizabeth Woods, yes.
Michael Jackson, yes.
Donna Gerber, yes.
Imelda Seja Bedquez, yes.
Ken Marlboro, yes.
Agenda item 7.3, recommend acceptance of program progress report for Pre-Licensure Nursing Program, East Los Angeles College Associate Degree Nursing Program. I am the nursing education consultant for ELAC and will be presenting this program. Joining me to my right is Ms. Loraine Gaines. She is the program director at ELAC, and next to her is Dr. Ornelas, who is the vice president of the college.
Welcome.
At the November 2019 board meeting, ELAC was put on warning status with intent to close. Reports for this meeting, February 2020, were submitted from the nursing program, college administration, and workforce development. These reports are included in the materials packet with changes from January to February in blue, so that you know what's new this month. Significant changes since the January 2020 ELC meeting include the two assistant directors now have 40% release time. This is 14 hours a week, which is an increase from 7 hours a week that they had before, with the understanding that this is for them to be able to learn the director's role and the assistant director's role. And more release time may be needed in the future, pending the decision of the faculty on the curriculum. Excuse me. A consultant has been hired and has made an initial visit and is also here at ELAC right now this week, meeting with faculty, students, and assessing resources. The final report from the outside consultant is expected in March of 2020, and I should have that before our next meeting. There are now 2 registered nurses in the nursing learning lab to provide more support to students, so from 1 to 2. College administration has stated their understanding and support the needs for other faculty having release time again, depending on the decisions on what they do with their curriculum. A change in admission requirements is already in place and has been posted on the website. And the next time they admit, they will be using the new multi-criteria admission process. Workforce Development has been doing outreach to recent grads and alumni to help and support those who, some of them they don't have any information on, so they're contacting them to see if they have taken the Nclex yet, if they've passed or not, and if they haven't taken it yet, to try to get them reconnected with the school so that they can get some help and be prepared and move forward taking the Nclex. And finally, there's also a faculty liaison who's working on curriculum with the ELAC nursing program, which will be a more ongoing past the outside consultant. To date, all the changes and implementations that have been made at the has been at the college or the nursing administration level. This work has been significant. However, I continue to have concerns about the ability of the nursing faculty to work on curriculum and the implementation of needed changes while they're teaching current students. No progress in this area was made between the continuing approval visit in September and February when faculty came back on contract, which was February 10th. So I'll be monitoring very closely in the next month to see now that they're back on contract and making sure that there's movement forward on the changes that need to be made starting at their level. That concludes my report.
Thank you very much. I make a recommendation that we accept the progress report for East Los Angeles.
That's a question I'd like to pose, please.
Sure.
I'd like to ask you about something. There was a revised admission requirement. What was it? What was different?
They're going to a multi-criteria instead of what they had before. Do you want to explain, Ms. Gaines?
Before she explains, I have a first. Do I have a second?
Second.
There you go. Now go ahead.
Okay.
Previous to the multi-criteria, we were using random selection in our district. So this way, any student could apply and we randomly selected students for the program. With this criteria now, we've changed the overall GPA to a 2.5. We were already at a point with 2.5 in all three of the sciences. We changed the time span on when the student completes the anatomy, physiology, and microbiology. Those are significant changes. We also looked at the T-score. So we looked at life experiences. So it gives students a much clearer picture as to why he or she might be selected and must meet that criteria to indeed be enrolled in the program.
Thank you.
All right. Are there any more comments from the board? Any public comments related to East Los Angeles? Seeing none, call for the vote.
Elizabeth Woods, yes.
Michael Jackson, yes.
Donna Gerber, yes.
Imelda Seja Batgots, yes.
Ken Marlboro, yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, ladies. Agenda item 7.4. Recommendation to change status of pre-licensure nursing program, Los Angeles City College Associate Degree Nursing Program to warning status with intent to revoke approval. This will be presented by Loretta Melby.
I am Loretta Melby. I'm a nursing education consultant for the Board of Registered Nursing, and I'll have the people to my right introduce themselves.
I'm Christiana Bhaskaran. I'm the Director of Nursing.
And I am Mary Gallagher. I'm the President of Los Angeles City College.
Dr. Christiana Bhaskaran, Director of Nursing, has served as Program Director of the ADN program since 2015. In the previous ELC meeting, Laura Berry, the Assistant Director, was here in representation. Laura Berry's been the Assistant Director since 2016 and faculty since 2009. It was important to mention that the nursing department has undergone multiple changes in the last 5 years, with a turnover of the campus president ×2, vice presidents ×2, dean ×6, with 4 of those deans being in the last 2 years. A regularly scheduled continuing approval visit was conducted on April 2019, LA City's current enrollment is 143 students and is improved to enroll 50 students 2 times a year. But currently, due to clinical impaction, they're enrolling 40 students twice a year. The program was found to be in non-compliance in 4 areas, with one of the areas being a related section, and they had 6 areas of recommendation. All areas of non-compliance were related to adequate resources, release time, support services, just items that they needed to support the students through their educational journey. It is important to note that the Nclex pass rate stayed high at 96.72%, being their last Nclex pass rate. That is definitely related to the program director, assistant director, and the remaining faculty that are there. Prior to ELC in January, a progress note was received and presented, and it did not adequately address the areas of non-compliance, and the ELC members recommended placing LA City on warning status. Since ELC, a new progress report has been received. It did miss the deadline, but that outlined now how the college will be in support of the nursing program and department. So how they're saying for sufficiency of resources, they have hired a full-time instructional assistant that will manage the skills lab and will increase the open lab from 16 hours a week to 40 hours a week. That is now going to be 9 to 5:30, Monday through Friday. They will also be hiring a full-time 10-month sim tech in spring of 2020. The Director of Nursing will work with the counseling department to develop and implement specific strategies around student success and attrition. Currently, counseling will provide counseling service at a 0.5 from hourly faculty pool, and then in fall of 2022, the school will hire a permanent counselor assigned with a 0.5 to the nursing department. Clinical placement needs are now going to be handled through an adjunct faculty member serving as an instructional special assignment, and will cover this role until June 30th of 2020. And then on July 1st, the work of the clinical placement coordinator will be shared by a full-time instructional lab assistant year-round, 1 full-time simulation tech for 10 months, and a department secretary. The assistant director of nursing will be responsible for training and overseeing that work. The third one, for the adequate release time for the DON and the ADON. The DON will continue to have 100% release time, and the assistant director will now have an increased release time from 0.2 to 0.4. Previously at the ELC meeting, that was to do the clinical placement coordinator, that additional 0.2. They have removed that from her, and now she will be able to have that additional 0.2 that will allow the ADON to facilitate the coordination of faculty responsibilities, curriculum revision, program evaluation, accreditation preparation, faculty onboarding and mentoring, and ensure adequate succession planning. And then number 4 was the faculty, and they are hiring a permanent full-time mental health faculty position. It's currently posted and to be hired by June 30th of 2020 for a fall start of 2020. They will also hire a full-time med-surg faculty position for fall of 2021 and an additional permanent half-time faculty member by fall of 2022. With these new proposed changes that clearly outline a plan to clear all non-compliances, I request that the board consider changing the ELC's recommendation of warning to a deferred status with quarterly progress reports.
So moved.
What does deferred status mean?
Deferred action.
Deferred action, I apologize.
Okay.
I make a recommendation that we defer action until further progress reports.
I'll second that.
I have a question.
All right.
So, you mentioned the recommendation for quarterly. Is that because if we did a monthly report or every other month report, that there wouldn't be enough time?
I believe so. It's the hiring process. So it's resources, not something they can just kind of drop when they have to do a search. They have to get adequate.
Right.
Yeah.
So when would the first quarterly report back to the board happen?
I would actually want to see that probably, I would say the board meeting is probably May, right? Or June? June. So I would say by June, because they do have one that is supposed to be hired and in this role by June 30th. So if we can get a first one in June, and then you guys have the break in July, and then we'll do another quarterly, probably October or November, however that falls. November would be the board meeting.
Thank you. I could support the motion with the understanding that the first report back will be June.
I do have a question also. I noticed in your report that some of these positions that were evidently needed are not going to be filled to 2022. Is that my understanding?
Yes.
Why is that taking so long?
I can actually let the president do that, but it's a funding.
Yes, thank you for the opportunity to address this. The college had undergone substantial budgetary problems prior to my coming in as the president. I've just started my third year as a president at the college, and prior to my coming into the college, they had had 4 consecutive years of multi-million-dollar deficits at the college, which puts them in a very precarious position. We have been able to reverse that. We've balanced our budget for the last 2 years, and we'll continue to balance the budget. But as I worked through the consultant and with the administration at the college and the nursing department, we found a way to be able to meet over time the requirements that we needed to make, because it would not be possible for us to do it all at once. The college does not currently have the resources to invest at this point all at one time. Although I'm very confident that over this period of time, we would be able to meet this compliance area, because one of the processes that the nursing department will be able to forego is the priority on hiring faculty that a community college typically has. The nursing department will have the number one priority for the next 3 years for these faculty positions. So they'll not have to compete with other departments that they often have to do. So I was able to work this through from a financial standpoint. And that it really came down to financially what we would be able to do. I do come from a fiscal background. I'm confident that we can meet this, but I am also as confident that we would not have been able to meet it had we been required to do it immediately.
I see. Is there going to be some changes to your budget over the next couple of years or this year? Or?
Yes, we have been working diligently for over 2 years since I entered the college. And work had been happening prior to my entering, so I don't want it to appear as if I came in and all of a sudden something dramatically shifted. But the college knew they needed to address some areas. And so we have spent the last 2 years really investing in improving our enrollment, because the underlying challenge that we faced was a substantial loss of enrollment at the college. So we're working on recovery of that enrollment. We actually have leveled our enrollment off, and we appear to have some growth occurring this year, which is great news for us.
Thank you.
One more question to Loretta. I think I heard you mention that under the clinical placement area that there is competition for clinical placements in this area that this school operates. Could you just say a little bit more about the specifics of that situation?
Yeah, I could speak to what I gained from the visit, but I think Christiana will be able to speak to that more. So during the visit, it was noted that they're approved for 50 enrollments twice a year. And Christiana, when reviewing her clinical sites and seeing the impaction and that she wasn't able to completely get all of those sites for the students, she voluntarily decreased her student enrollment to 40 twice a year to ensure that the students that are rolling into the program are able to actually successfully complete and have clinical sites that they can go to. But I can let her speak to more of the details.
Please give us some specifics. Thank you.
Thank you. So specifically, we have problem in the pediatric area, especially, when we send the students to Children's Hospital. Specific requirement is the students have to be enrolled in any BSN program. So we have to provide the proof that they are enrolled in some sort of BSN program. So, and also there is a limitation, only 8 students can be in a group. So that puts us in, disadvantage. The other one is the other sites, also we have restrictions. So recently we lost a couple sites in the mental health area too. So these are some of the challenges we face, especially in the pediatric and the other areas in the LA area.
And can you just say a little bit more about why you're losing placements in other sites?
There are, the new personnel who are, added or came to the facility, so now I have to work with them. Something happened, so we lost couple of the mental health group where we can send. So I have to, after this, I have to go and work with them and make sure that we get back those. I don't know whether private colleges have taken over that. I'm not too sure on that.
I see, thank you.
I have a question in the same area.
Going to interject really quick with that. That was why it was imperative that they get somebody to work with clinical placements. What Christiana Boscaron was doing was handling the clinical placement. She was also working on an overload assignment and teaching in addition to her 100% release time for a director. So she wasn't able to go out into the community to build these relationships.
So as you work through your clinical placements, you're independently having to go to these facilities. There's no consortium or anything like that in your general
We do
area?
have consortium. Right now, it's not consortium, we just have the CCPS, sort of. It's only for 3 facilities. It's for Kaiser, County Hospital, and one more is, there's one more. The only 3 we can go through this consortium.
That's it.
Rest is independently, we have to approach them, get the contract, and then start sending our students. So it takes time, and I was also trying to work with the LAUSD. Initially, we got the contract like 3 years before. We just barely able to start with the LAUSD. So it takes a lot of time, and we have to put in a lot of effort to get connected to these facilities.
Thank you.
Their program, is it a nursing and allied health program?
Just nursing program.
Is there allied health at the college?
We can't call it as allied health. We just have the rad tech and the dental technology.
So those 2 programs, they're overseen by one dean, or are they all together? I'm asking the president.
The programs are not grouped all together. Nursing is a separate program, radiation technology is a separate program, and dental technology is a separate program. All 3 of those programs do report to the same dean, but they're not grouped together as programs.
Is that dean a nurse?
No.
You ever thought about putting a nurse in that role, since nurses are basically leaders of allied health in the healthcare industry?
We're actually looking at the entire healthcare field. We've been working with our tri-community, which is Los Angeles Children's Hospital, Kaiser, and Hollywood Presbyterian, to do a number of things to address not just the nursing shortage, but substantial shortages through up and down in below bachelor degree areas for healthcare, period. So
The reason why I say that is because nurses are trained to be leaders in healthcare, and a lot of the problems that have come before your school could potentially be avoided if you have somebody who understands in that leadership role.
So as we go forward to plan additional opportunities that we're actually very seriously looking at right now, that certainly will be a component of what we consider.
Thank you. Are there any comments related to Los Angeles City College from the public? Seeing none, I call for the vote.
Elizabeth Woods, yes.
Michael Jackson, yes.
Donna Gerber, yes.
Imelda Seja Betquitz, yes.
Ken Marlboro, yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
With permission of the board, I'd like to present items number 7.5 and 7.6 together, as they both relate to Holy Names University.
Please go ahead.
7.5 is a recommendation for continuing approval for an approved nursing program pre-licensure, Holy Names University Baccalaureate Degree Nursing Program. And 7.6 is to recommend continuing approval for approval of an advanced practice program of Holy Names, their FNP SMN Nurse Practitioner, and Postmaster Certificate Program, FNP nursing programs for continuing reapproval. These will be presented by Katie Doherty, Nursing Education Consultant.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
As indicated, I'm Katie Doherty. I've worked in the Sacramento office of the board for almost 20 years now. I say with great pleasure. To my immediate right is Dr. Edith Jenkins Weinrub. She's the program director. She's been at Holy Name, I believe, around 19 years at this point in time. She's also the dean of the School of Nursing. And to her immediate right is Dr. Pam Stanley, who is the program assistant director. To Dr. Stanley's right is Dr. Paulson, who is the FNP program director. And down the road there is the president of the college, Mr. Michael Grainer. And the president has been, he started with the college as the finance VP and then moved into the president's role 2.5, 3 years ago. And to his immediate right is Mr. Kennard, who's the VP of Finance at this point in time. And to his immediate right is Mr. Jin, who's the Chief of Staff to the Office of the President and handles accreditation matters. And to his immediate right is, she calls herself Dr. Sheila, and she's Dr. Sheila McCoy-Smith. She's the provost, and she is just coming up on a year, I believe it is, as the provost of the institution. So you can see by looking at the materials that there have been some changes historically. If you recall, one of the characteristics of Holy Name University is for a period of time they had what was approved as an LVN to RN BSN program. And that program voluntarily closed in December of 2016 due to low Nclex pass rates. At the time of that closure, the program had the opportunity to come forward again for a generic BSN degree program following a major curriculum change approval by this board. That occurred in 2017. In 2018, there were a total of 12 students who entered the generic BSN degree program at Holy Name. 10 of those 12 graduated last August. The program is pleased to announce that they have a 100% pass rate for that first cohort of students who graduated from the program. There are currently 15 in the program who are slated to graduate in August of this year. And so the program is moving ahead very nicely. I did a continuing approval visit of the program on July 11th through 13th of 2019. At that time, Holy Names University had just concluded a special visit by WASC. As part of that special visit, there were some recommendations pertaining to financial sustainability, and I'll say a little more about that. The findings from the continuing approval visit for the baccalaureate degree program were there was identified one area of noncompliance that had to do with a faculty approval in both med-surg and geriatrics. That was immediately corrected by the program. Why the program is before the full board is because of the financial stability issue that was raised. You have quite a voluminous set of documents that Holy Names has provided that demonstrate the sustained financial stability of the program for the next 5 years. You also have all the WASC documents. You have all of the heightened cash monitoring that occurred in 17 and 18 due to a reporting and calculation error that had occurred. And so one of the reasons this was not handled as a consent agenda item was it was the request of our former EO that when there was some sense of financial sustainability issue, that it really come before the full board for a review and provide the full board the opportunity to ask the team from the institution any questions that they might have. Certainly the baccalaureate program is in full compliance with the regulations at this time, and now would be the opportunity to certainly ask any of the team from H&U any questions you might have about the documentation that's been provided that demonstrates sustainability for the next 5 years.
Are there any questions from the board members?
Thank you very much for the report, and good morning, everybody. I'm looking at some of the information here, and I just wanted to have you perhaps speak to the $49 million muni bond, and perhaps indicate how that funding will help confirm that everything is looking well financially.
Okay. So, excuse me. The institution has had operating deficits for the last few years. 2 years ago, we began a program putting together what we called our strategic business plan. So our strategic business plan is designed to bring us to a balanced budget over a 5-year period of time. We're now in the middle of the second year of that 5-year period. The plan from the outset required us to go out for a longer-term financing that would allow us, number one, to be able to cover additional operating deficits until year 5 of the plan. It also provides for investments that the institution will need to make and is in the process of making that will help us to attain our enrollment targets over the next 5 years. In essence, we are solving our problem through investing for the future and in attracting a large number of new students to Holy Names University, and they fall into 3 categories. We have our traditional 4-year students. We are seeing and planning for a very large increase in 2-year community college transfer students, and we also see a growth in our graduate programs. In addition to the transfer students from community colleges, we have another category of students which are degree completing adults. These are generally working adults. They have a good deal of responsibility, but they also have ambitions to finish a baccalaureate degree. We need to address the flexibility that these students will need, and we are seeing a need for increased flexibility for all of our undergraduate students, many of whom are also working their way through school. So our investments are in our information technology infrastructure and our information technology systems. Those are the 2 largest investments that are well underway. They should be completed by the end of the fall semester of 2020. And at the same time, we are bolstering our admissions, our whole admissions effort. We have had a recent change, and we're in the middle of a search for a new vice president for enrollment management. We expect to have that position filled by the end of April, and then moving forward. For the last 3 years, we have been able, under our plan, at least the year before our plan, and then the first year of the plan, and now, as I said, we're in the second year of the plan. We've had enrollment growth for 3 years in a row for each fall, and that additional enrollment growth is planned. I think you have the numbers, or at least you can see the net tuition revenue increasing over our 5-year period.
Thank you. As a follow-up, so from our perspective,
Yes.
you know, we have had some programs fail in the last few years financially.
Yes.
So this is part of the reason why we really want to make sure everything is on track. And often with systems that have multiple programs, such as yours, one of the things that has sometimes happened, and in particular with some of the national companies that have schools in California, is that they seem to have plenty of funding in general, and their programs, their nursing school programs, are expensive comparatively. Yours is at about $160,000 for the BSM program. Can you assure this board that with the funding that that's in your 5-year plan,
Yes.
that the nursing school part of your operation will be adequately taken care of? Because it looks like there's enough funding coming from the cost of the program. And could you just say a little bit more about the commitment of the university to the nursing program and the funding streams that will make their way there?
Yes. The nursing program is one of our more attractive degree programs, and clearly healthcare in general is one of the is a very high demand area. So we're not concerned about having enough students in that particular arena. What we have done in other areas of the university is to shore up certain of the academic programs. Perhaps our provost could speak more distinctly about that. I came from a financial background, and when I first joined the institution as the chief financial officer, one of the first things that happened is that there was, the board had encouraged a very close look at all of our academic programs. And we actually eliminated a number of academic majors and kept those that we felt were in demand programs. We are altering the other programs. So nursing, I'm not at all worried about. The rest of the institution, we're well on our way to identifying new audiences, new students, and that is what's going to drive our financial recovery. Another area that we have not overemphasized at all in our 5-year strategic business plan is the area of advancement, fundraising. And so we have now recreated a whole office of advancement. We have a new vice president and are in the process of also adding all the staff members we need in that particular operation. So as I say, in our 5-year strategic business plan right now, we don't have a lot of money built in from fundraising, but that certainly is our plan. And beyond our 5 years, because it takes time to get those kinds of programs off the ground, we expect great returns from that as well. So we are in effect, through our investments, through our changes in our academic programs, positioning the institution for long-term success. And it's the long-term success that will have plenty of funds available and resources for the nursing program, one of our stellar programs. So,
Thank you for that information, clarification. Thank you.
I do have a question. I'm curious about your program that was an LVN to an RN program. We always encourage LVNs to go on to an RN. And considering that they come from a background of nursing to start with, I'm curious as to why that program failed and that there was a problem with these particular students taking the Nclex. And if that was looked into, what did you identify as the reason? And instead of correcting that reason, you eliminated the program. It's a long question. But...
Okay, I think I was not here at the time.
Oh, okay.
I'm the best one to answer that question. The program started in around 2010, And at that time, the chair of the department really didn't set up the admission criteria correctly so that the students can be successful. And at that time, I wasn't the chair, I was the faculty in the department. So from the outside looking in, that what it appeared to be. And then when we had our second chair of the department, she raised the GPA up to 2.5, because before it was much lower. And so the students really didn't have the ability for the program. There was an assumption by them being an LVN that they already had the knowledge that was needed for nursing. And what was discovered is that that was not necessarily true, that they really had to go back and make sure the individuals had the ability to do 4 years of college work.
So economic.
And then also we didn't, at that time, ATI, the testing, standardized testing, it was part of the proposal that it was going to be integrated throughout the program, but with the turnover of faculty in the program, there really wasn't a champion for the integration of the standardized testing throughout the program. And it was picked up toward the end. I think I came into the program as chair in 2014, and that is one of the things we started implementing was the standardized testing throughout the program. But by that time, the scores were very low right at the beginning. I think the first Nclex, we started off at 50%. So it was kind of too late to change the tide the way it went. But fortunately, the board was able to grant us the opportunity with the new faculty and a new curriculum to turn the process around with a new generic program.
So academic.
Also, the delays, yes, that was the other thing, was that some of the graduates from our LVN to BSN program, they stayed out anywhere from 3 to 6 and sometimes a year before they until they take the Nclex. So their probability of passing the Nclex was very low at that time.
But it appeared up front that they weren't academically prepared for the more advanced courses.
Correct.
Thank you.
Are there any more comments from the board? Any more discussion from the school? Public comment?
No.
So I'll make a recommendation that we approve the program, grant the continuing approval for Holy Names Baccalaureate Degree Program.
I'll second it.
And the MSN program.
Was this for both?
I don't know, do you want to present them separately, or they're separate issues for both, or is it the
Or
same?
can we vote both together?
Well, we should vote on them separate, but.
We can take it. Okay, so then we can take them together. Let's start with item 7.5, Holy Names Baccalaureate Degree Program. Any public comment related to this? Seeing none, call for the vote.
Elizabeth Woods, yes.
Michael Jackson, yes.
Donna Gerber, yes.
Imelda Seja Bedgood, yes.
Ken Marlboro, yes.
Item 7.6,
And the only thing to add, I think, in terms of the FNP program, they currently have 41 students in that program. There was one area of noncompliance that had to do with the sequencing, the curriculum.
gotta talk into the mic, Katie.
Which was immediately corrected actually during the visit period of time. And so, again, this was really presented to the full board because of the financial considerations that needed your fine observations and assessment to make some determination about continuing approval. Both are enjoying a wonderful reputation in the communities they serve.
Item 7.6, I make a recommendation that we accept. And this is for the FNP MSN program of Holy Names.
I'll second the motion.
Any public comments related to the FNP program MSN for Holy Names? Seeing none, call for the vote.
Elizabeth Woods, yes.
Michael Jackson, yes.
Donna Gerber, yes.
Imelda Seja Bedgood, yes.
Ken Marlboro, yes.
And I want to thank you for coming before the board. Thank you.
Thank you. Item 7.7, is this still
Yes.
yours, Katie?
7.7 Nclex updates with Katie Doherty.
It's like a talk show.
Are we still
We're doing great.
number 2?
We're doing great. So the first table you have in front of you, of course, is the January 1, 2019 through December 31, 2019 first-time Nclex pass rates. You can see for California, there were a total of 12,502 first-time testers, and we have a pass rate of 91.72%. For the national rate, which includes the United States and its territories, there were 171,374 first-time testers, and the pass rate is 88.18%. So as we have done for the past couple of years, California is really doing extremely well. We must acknowledge the wonderful job that all of the nursing educators in the state of California are doing in terms of really preparing pre-licensure folks to be successful on first attempt. We really appreciate all of their hard work. It's really a great honor and privilege to work with all of them and their motivation to really excel in that area. The next table down is reporting on the most recent quarter for first-time NCLEX pass rates, and that's 10/1/19 through 12/31/19. California had 1,646 and a pass rate of 85.60. And this is actually up a little bit over the last, when compared with last year at the same time for the October through December quarter. Typically, I also give you a little bit of information about how we compare 12-month rolling totals. Did you want to do that as well today, or?
It's in the information packet.
Okay, all right.
Thank you.
So the next table before you is really the pass rates by degree type. I think those are also self-explanatory. Again, California is doing very nicely in that regard. And then the final set of reports you have are the two trended reports for California and nationally, both for first-time testers comparing national and California rates, and then for internationally educated. And those trend reports are also there so that you can see longitudinally what's happened in terms of pass rates historically in California. Are there any questions?
No, I just would like to congratulate everyone. California, we're great. I mean, we're just, awesome.
Yeah, I'd like to echo that. I did my little math, and so on average for 2019, and the NCLEX scores were 90.53. That's great.
Yeah, super.
Where's Texas at?
You see? All right. So, here you go.
You come prepared, right?
For the 12-month rolling total, and you've got to really remember to keep in mind, when we do these comparisons, we're really talking about a similar number of first-time testers.
Yeah.
And so when we look at the scores for first-time testers between the range of 8,432 and 12,964, Texas is first at 92.07, and they had 12,964. California is second at 12,502 and 91.72, followed by Ohio and New York. So neck and neck. When you look at the quarterlies, if you use the range of first-time testers and you use the range of 902 through 1646, California's first. If you include Texas in that, they only had 761 testers. They're above California. But again, what we try to do when we report that out is similar number of testers for the period.
For the period of time. All
Yeah.
right.
We'll get there. We're doing fantastic.
Yeah.
It's okay if you leave Texas out.
Their EO has a mullet.
Well, again,
He does.
remember, 1646 is a big difference in number of testers versus 761. So California is doing very, very well.
Yes.
Thank you all very much.
I just want to point out also, if I'm understanding the comparison between the ADN takers and the BSN, et cetera, takers, that California's rates, I'm looking at the October-December number, are higher than the national rates. They're quite a bit higher. And the comparison between the California ADN rates and the California BSN ELM rates is very favorable. Both groups doing
Consistently.
really quite well.
Right. And ordinarily what we do with the tables, unless there's something remarkable, they speak for themselves. And that has been the request.
And it's pretty much consistent through
Yes,
each
it is. And certainly we
ADN,
would call your
BSN,
attention
ELM. They're almost the same.
And the ELM is a good place for people to get on the faculty track in California so that we maintain all these good nursing faculty folks going forward. Hint, hint. Thank you. Thanks, Katie.
Thanks, Katie.
Thank you
Item
very
number
much.
7.8, licensing program update.
Good morning, Christina Sprague, Deputy Chief Licensing Division. The licensing program evaluators are currently processing applications for California and U.S. exam and endorsements received in late December and early January. And are completing the California Fall 2019 graduation season. We continue to receive electronic transcripts with 100% participation from all of our California programs. The Fall 2019 California graduation applications were processed within 1 to 2 days of receiving electronic transcripts from schools. Out-of-state applicants can also submit electronic transcripts via third-party vendors, and this significantly cuts down on our application processing time. The board continues to use the QBERT reporting tool. We utilize custom reports to find areas of improvement in our processes as well as better predict workflow fluctuations. A comparison of average application processing times for the past 3 fiscal years and current fiscal year to date has been provided in the chart below. During the past fiscal year, the licensing program was able to achieve a decrease in processing times of over 30 days for each application type. This is a direct result of the board's continuous business process improvements, increased use of various technological advancements, modernization efforts, additional staffing, and ongoing training. The average processing time statistics captures the processing time for exam and endorsement applications from receipt of the application to approval of the application for exam or for licensure. For our exam applicants last fiscal year, 2019-2020, on average, applications were processed within 25.3 days. And for our endorsement applicants, they were processed on average within 26.8 days from receipt of application.
So the endorsement process for out of state is getting better. Is that the ones coming in or ones going out?
That is the ones coming in,
Coming in.
yes. We are also able to pull reports, which provides us average time from exam to licensure. So this is applicants who are made eligible for the exam, schedule their exam, take their exam. On average, in fiscal year 18-19, on average, 90% of the applicants who took and passed the exam were issued an RN license within 3 days of taking that exam. The next chart shows, of course, our fiscal year statistics for applications received from July 1 of 2019 to current. We have received just over 27,000 applications, and those are applications in all areas: exam, endorsements, our repeat, reapply, and all of our advanced practice. The licensing unit and the renewals unit have been consolidated into one program. The licensing division, a total of 2 program technicians and 1 program technician 1, was moved over from the previous renewals unit, and all renewals related duties have been absorbed into the new licensing division. Ongoing license verification requests, these are the outgoing verifications, are now a licensing division task. One of our top priorities upon the unit consolidation was improving the time frame and process for outgoing license verifications. In November 2019, there were a total of over 3,000 open verification requests to be processed. As of today, there are approximately 1,000 requests that are pending. We have been able to reduce the time frame by training additional staff to assist with the process, with the workload, as well as streamlining the process itself. Verifications are now being processed within 4 to 6 weeks of receipt, and we will further improve this time frame in the coming weeks.
What about Breeze? Have they done anything to help us out with this program instead of having to go and mail a form in?
So we are working with the department on trying to come up with some other areas in which to streamline the process so that we can accept payment online. We already process the verification through Breeze, and we do email via the cloud service verifications directly to other states.
So, but the nurse, they still have to mail in the form. We can't do that one online yet.
Currently, they cannot do that part of it online, but we are working with the department to come up with other solutions so that we can accept payment online, so that they will not have to send verification forms in through the mail.
Can this be a part of our Breeze update? Are we scheduled for an update?
Breeze updates are on a continuous basis.
I mean, for the one that we say, hey, we want to change this one, and they charge us for it.
We actually have been working with them to try to implement that functionality into the system.
I think that'll save us some money too, so we don't have to go outside.
It'll save us a lot of time.
Exactly.
It will save
Thank
a lot
you.
of time.
I'm noting that we have 2 additional program technician 2s. Were those 2 positions out of the new budget positions that we received approval on?
So with
Are they vacancies?
Yes, that is. We did receive 2 additional positions through the BCP process, but we also received 3 additional positions as part of the consolidation of the units.
And so how many of those are vacant at this point?
Currently, we have 2 vacant staff positions.
Okay.
3 positions total, 2 of those are program technician 2 positions.
Okay.
And we are in the process of recruiting.
Great.
I have a question
Yes.
to do with this. So we know how many applicants we process on a yearly basis based on California's population. Okay. And also based on that, we have a lot of nurses that are aging, they're retiring. How many nurses would we anticipate that we would need to have on board to be able to provide the services to the residents of California? Have we ever figured it out? I know that in other words, recruitment. I mean, we have you processed 27,084, right?
So far.
So
this
far.
fiscal year, yes.
So, I mean, have we kind of looked in the future?
We
That's in the Joanne Specs report,
Correct.
her research report that she
The
puts
forecast
out about the
reports.
forecast.
So remind me, do you remember how many?
Well, I
No,
do
don't.
know that Joanne Specs has made it very clear
How many
that as
nurses
long
will
as we had at least 10,000 new grads,
Pardon me,
excuse me,
this is outside the scope of the
Okay.
agenda item, so
Okay.
sorry about that.
There we go.
we'll talk.
Just want to make sure we're prepared.
We have recently, as part of the reorganization and the approval of the BCP, we were able to establish an additional U.S. evaluations unit. Along with that, we were approved for a new supervising program technician 2 position. And I would like to welcome Jessica Masello as the new supervising program technician 2 of the U.S. evaluations unit. Jessica has been with the board since October of 2018, working on our licensing support unit, and we welcome her and all of her fantastic ideas that she has for
Congratulations,
improvement.
Jessica.
Congratulations. Is she,
Thank you. Is she
She
here?
is not in the audience.
Oh, okay.
And that is the end of my report. Any additional questions?
No. Thank you
No,
very much for all your hard work
Yeah,
and all the
helpful.
improvements.
Very, very good. Thank you.
A break. You got a break before you came out. Just switch. At this time, we'll take a 10-minute break for the request of the board members. Thank you. Moving on to item 8.0, report of the legislative committee. We'll turn it over to the chairperson of the legislative committee, Donna Gerber.
Okay, everybody, if we could get back in meeting. Great, thank you. So we have the legislative committee report, and I'll introduce Thelma Harris, who is our legislative chief, to go through the items with us. Thank you, Thelma.
Still good morning. Could everybody hear me?
No.
No.
He just came over here and did something.
You might need to have it closer to you.
Good morning.
Better. Thank you.
Still good morning. Thank you. My name is Thelma Harris. I'm Chief of Legislation for the Board of Registered Nursing. Here to discuss and bring before the board the bills that are available for any action or also just for your notification. Just to bring you up to date, tomorrow is bill introduction deadline for all the bills in the legislation. So today's report will not be extensive because we're waiting for all of these new bills to drop. So the bills that I'm going to discuss with you today will be bills that we have had coming into the 2-year session from 2019, an update as to what has gone through, and to bring to your attention the ones or one that you need to be knowledgeable about moving forward. So we'll start with AB 329, which is a Rodriguez bill about hospitals, assaults and batteries. This bill was a 2-year bill. It will be heard in June. Right now, there's no update as to any types of amendments going forward. And if you have any questions as I go through these bills, I know you have them in your packet, so I'm not going to read to you the entire analysis, but if you do have questions, please let me know. AB 362, Controlled Substances Overdose Prevention Program. This bill is now in Senate Health, and it will be heard also looking at a June date. AB 613 is in the committee process. That's regarding professions and vocations and regulatory fees. AB 732, county jails and pregnant inmates. It's gone to the committee in rules, and basically what that means is that it's waiting for assignment to whichever committee that it will go to next. AB 890, this is the bill that I'd like to bring to your attention. This is the bill regarding nurse practitioners and scope of practice. The board has taken a position to oppose unless amended in reference specifically to the the bill stating that a separate board would be established. That bill was amended in January. It is a 2-year bill, so it is going forward now in 2020. The amendments that did go forward have not removed the establishment of a new board. So I want to bring that to your attention.
Yes, I think the board has discussed this particular piece before, and I think we have a very good letter on file that explains the board's position as, I believe it's actually support and
Oppose unless.
oppose unless amended. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Oppose unless amended, but it's very clear as to what the amendment needs to be. And it has nothing to do with the scope of practice. It has to do with this business of setting up a separate board that is comprised of and includes physicians and a few other things that we, as a board, don't think are appropriate. So that's our current position. I think it's well-founded, and we'll see what happens with the bill going forward.
And our letter of opposition's been sent to the author?
The letter of opposition has been sent to the author. The letter has also been sent to the committees that the board will go forward with.
All right, thank you.
The other bills that are listed on your agenda, AB 1145 has gone to Senate Rules pending referral. AB 1444 is dead, so you can scratch it off your list. You won't see that anymore. AB 1544, that's regarding the community paramedicine triage alternate, and it's currently inactive, but it could go forward. So we'll keep watching this one.
Our opposition letter's been sent on this one?
Our opposition letter has been sent.
Okay.
I'll make sure and verify that, though. Thank you. SB 207, that's the Medi-Cal Asthma's Preventive Service, and you can scratch that off your list because it's actually been changed to a voter registration bill. Doesn't have any concerns to the BRN unless you're interested in getting involved with voter registration. SB 700, this is Senator Ross' bill. We were hoping that this bill would have been something that the BRN would have utilized as a vehicle moving forward regarding consortiums. However, at this time, that bill, which was actually a bill that he was just holding to go forward with, has died. So there's nothing happening with this bill. The board has taken positions on these bills already. So if there's any discussion or any questions that you have or any type of indication you want to give me moving forward, I'm here to answer.
Okay, I think we're good. Any comments from the board members? Thank you so much.
for all your
And we
hard
also
work.
have attached to our materials the legislative calendar, all the dates that you might be interested in relative to what's happening when. Thank you very much,
You're
Thelma.
welcome, and I promise you, next time it will be a lot more extensive.
Yes, bring your pajamas next time.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman, that concludes.
That concludes the report on the legislative the legislative report. Now is item 9.0, report on the Intervention Discipline Committee. We'll turn it over to the chair, Imelda Ceja-Bakowitz.
Correction, it's Enforcement Intervention Committee.
Enforcement Intervention Committee.
Who's presenting? Joseph?
I am.
Joe? Okay.
Good morning. I think it's
Good morning.
Yep. My name is Joseph Pacheco. I'm the Deputy Chief of Enforcement, responsible for complaint intake, intervention, our citations, and legal desk in the Enforcement Division. And I will start my presentation with item 9.1, a complaint intake, intervention, citation, and legal desk update. Well, because the board meeting hasn't been in Sacramento for a while, I would like to take the opportunity to introduce to the board some new members of management in my team. First off, Loraine Clark is the new Intervention, Citation, and Legal Desk Unit Manager. I think she's here.
Oh, welcome, Loraine.
Welcome back.
Hello.
You'll recognize Loraine as the prior liaison to the board for legislative issues, and she has a long-term and exemplary record in the enforcement division. And then and next to her is Jessica Perry, our new manager of our expanded complaint intake unit.
Hi, Jessica, welcome.
Jessica is also a long-term member of our complaint intake unit. She was most recently an AGPA in that unit, and we're very happy to have her in a new position. So with that, a general update for my section. With the hiring of these two managers, the units under my supervision have now completed our BCP expansion and reorganization for our BCP that was implemented last July. And our complaint intake unit has now completely expanded from 1 to 2 complaint intake units, and we're really happy about that and some of the improvements that we're expecting from that. So, and I'll move on. General update. The BRN and D of I continue on our 1-year pilot project for case prioritization guideline changes for the BRN. As I've reported before, this pilot project adjusts case referral guidelines for quality of care or patient care complaints that allege patient harm and or patient death. Previously, these urgent priority complaints were referred only to D of I, and the new pilot now directs nearly all direct patient care complaints to the BRN investigation unit, where they are handled as the most top priority investigations in that unit. And since September, when the pilot was initiated, we have referred 32 investigation referrals that have met the criteria for this pilot project. Any complaints? I get stuck on that word. Any comments or questions before I move on? For the complaint intake unit specifically, complaint intake is enjoying continued success with our processing of incoming complaints. The initial processing of new complaints is currently averaging between 2 to 3 business days for the last 6 months. Our complaint intake staff are also moving new complaints to their respective investigation units extremely timely. On average, our in-house desk investigations, which are our criminal arrest or criminal conviction cases, are referred to a desk investigator within 2 business days. DOI referrals are referred to DOI within 3 business days, and our BRN investigations within 6 business days. We're extremely proud of that. It is probably the best timeframes for moving incoming complaints in the board's recent history, and I'm really proud of my team and staff for those numbers. Sonia Wilson, our other complaint intake manager, she is currently participating with DCA on an expert witness program workshop, which is developing and designing a training program, a universal training program for all of DCA's boards and bureaus who use contracted expert witnesses. We're happy about that because the training is necessary. We've gotten the feedback from the AG that they want a standardized training program and some standardized formatting, and this is getting us very close to having that done, and I'm really happy. That should be completed sometime this summer.
So the expert witness training program, the AG wants it from the board, but they're going to take it and use it across all the boards.
The AG has given us feedback to the BRN that they'd like it. We were working on it last year. It was difficult with everything else that was going on, it was difficult to implement, and now we've got a larger partnership with DCA and many other boards and bureaus who are working on this to share resources and get it done.
Congratulations once again. Board of Nursing setting the standard for the rest of the state agencies. Congratulations.
And thank you to Sonia for spearheading that on behalf of the
Is she
BRN.
here?
She isn't here yet, no.
Okay.
She's not here today, unfortunately. So, and I'll move on, unless there's other questions. Intervention, citation, legal support update. Maximus has been awarded the new contract to administer DCA's Alternative to Discipline Recovery programs, which includes our BRN intervention program. Maximus was the prior contractor for the intervention program, so our transition has been pretty much seamless. Maximus has clearly communicated to the BRN their plans on how to implement some of the new contract deliverables and data processing requirements of the new contract, and they are giving us weekly updates on their progress in that regard. Loraine Clark, as I mentioned, as our new unit manager, has also initiated plans to recruit intervention evaluation committee members and nurse support group facilitators via the renewal application. 2 years ago, we initiated this for our experts. And what we're proposing is a change to the RN renewal application so that RNs who are renewing their license are asked basically they're asked recruiting questions. Are they interested in being an intervention evaluation committee member? Are they interested in being a nurse support group facilitator for our intervention and probation programs? And those RNs who are interested will be contacted and given our professional requirements and minimum qualifications for those, and we're hoping that it increases our success in recruiting these critical positions.
I'm going to go ahead. I know this is informational only, but, thank you for doing that for the recruitment. I was wondering about the census. Is there something that you could put regarding the census? Because we have a lot of nurses, traveling nurses, and we want to be able to capture them here for the state of California. No? Anyways, just again, I'm just throwing it out there.
Okay.
And we can talk later.
Sure. Our statistics and performance measure numbers are all in a separate agenda item, so that concludes my report for this board meeting, unless there's further questions.
Well, thank you. So the pilot project is going great. Thank you.
Pilot project is
Yeah,
going great.
I know all the other boards are looking at us, right?
We've been contacted by
Yeah.
a couple of boards so far to inquire about the procedures that we've developed with D of I and our internal procedures.
So maybe in September or past September, maybe we can have a presentation, maybe from both sides as to how well it's working.
Absolutely.
Because I'm sure there's things that work better than others, and so we can have a report maybe?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Oh, moving on. That's right. So I will move on to 9.1.1, discussion and possible action regarding the appointment of an intervention evaluation committee member. The committee is forwarding to the board, and they approved the recommendation to appoint Ashley Schenkel, public member, to Intervention Evaluation Committee number 7 in San Jose. And her term, if approved, would expire June 30th, 2021. And I look to the board for a motion.
I make a motion to approve Ashley Schenkel.
Second.
Okay, I'll start from my left. Oh, public comment, please. Sorry. Seeing none? Any comments from the board? Okay, seeing none.
Ken Malbrough, yes.
Imelda Seja Butquez, yes.
Donna Gerber, yes.
Michael Jackson, yes.
Elizabeth Woods, yes.
Good morning, Stacy Berman, Enforcement Chief. I'm doing Agenda Item 9.2, Investigations Update. The Investigations Unit Supervisors continue to work very closely to coordinate policy and procedure updates, so cases continue to move smoothly to meet the unit goals of completion within 240 days. As the Senior BRN Investigation Supervisor, Scarlett Treviso has been designated as the lead supervisor who will serve as the main liaison between the Board of Registered Nursing and D of I until the selection of a Supervising Special Investigator 2 is made. Staffing update. The BRN Investigation Unit has the following vacancies. 1 Supervising Special Investigator position to oversee all BRN investigations. The recruitment process was initiated in July 2019, and first interviews were held in August 2019. Second-level executive interviews were held in October 2019. It was decided that a second statewide recruitment would be initiated. Interviews were conducted on February 10th, 2020, and the hiring approval memo was submitted to the AEO on February 13th, 2020. We hope to be able to fill this position soon. One special investigator position vacancy in our Northern California unit. Interviews were conducted on February 10th and 11th, and the selected applicant was approved on February 14th, 2020. It is hoped the candidate will be able to start by 3/2/2020. As of December 16th, 2019, the BRN investigation staff have been assigned approximately 69% of all formal investigation case referrals, while DFI case referrals are 31%. Specific information can be found in agenda item 9.4. That concludes my report for agenda item 9.2, unless there's any questions or comments.
Thank you.
Is there any public comments? Board, do you have any comments? Okay, moving along to agenda item 9.3.
Okay, agenda item 9.3, I'm Shannon Johnson, Deputy Chief for Discipline in the Probation Unit. I'll begin with probation. The unit is fully staffed as of January 21st, and I would like to welcome our new probation manager, Jaspreet Pabla, and I believe she's here.
Oh, she's in the front.
She's in the front row.
Would you please stand so you can be on camera?
I know.
So Jaspreet was hired when we split the probation unit, so now we have the two managers, both John Knowles and Jaspreet. We are currently in the process of transitioning to a digital monitoring process, which will hopefully streamline probation. This process is just one of many that we're doing to go green. And we're in the process of updating the unit procedures as well, which will incorporate the digital monitoring process. So each manager, because we split the units, they have approximately 8 staff each, including monitors and support staff, which is more manageable for each of them. The probation unit currently has 97 subsequent cases at the AG's office, and of those, 4 cases are over 2 years old and 18 are 1 to 2 years old. Any questions on probation? And additional stats are included in an attachment.
Go ahead.
For the discipline unit, as of January 6, 2020, the vacant discipline OT position was filled, and the discipline unit now is currently staffed or fully staffed. The discipline unit recently implemented a new letter pursuant to Business and Professions Code 820 compelling a respondent to a mental and physical exam. The update was to alleviate lack of clarity in the reports that we were receiving back from our examiners. This update was the result of a joint effort between the discipline unit and our Attorney General liaisons. We continue to focus our efforts on the aging cases, striving to meet the CPEI guidelines of 540 days, and approximately half of our cases are completed within this time frame. And we are currently just over 600 days overall, on average. The AG's office also, within the last 6 months, has been able to decrease their aging cases by 60 days. Currently, the discipline unit has only 10 cases that are over 10 years old, 2 years old and 10, and 70 that are 1 to 2 years old. And at this time last year, we had 38 that were over 2 years old and 126 that were between 1 and 2 years. So we've made great strides there as well. That is the conclusion of my report, unless you have any questions.
Thank you.
Stacy Berman, Enforcement Chief, Agenda Item 9.4, Enforcement and Intervention Statistics. We've changed up the way that we're providing the information, so in this agenda item, it will show all of the data that represents the entire enforcement process that includes complaint intake, intervention, investigation, citation and fine, and discipline and probation. But while we're here, I would like to take this opportunity while in Sacramento and staff are in the audience to express my sincere appreciation and gratitude to the enforcement staff for their hard work and dedication, even in times of turmoil, in support of the board's statutory mandate to protect the public. In my 14 years at BRN, they have tirelessly worked to improve processes and create efficiencies that have reduced average discipline timeframes from 3 years to 610 days, which is 70 days away from the 540-day goal, all while workload has increased by over 200%. This could not have been done or accomplished without our staff, and I thank them.
Thank you.
Before you go, could I just ask a question?
Sure.
Do you have the number of BCP positions that were in the last BCP for your area, your total area, that are currently unfilled, or are they all? Roughly?
Maybe in complaint intake, I think we have one position of the 8 that were allocated to enforcement that is vacant. Otherwise, we filled all of the rest of the positions. Okay, and we've made an offer on that position as well, so soon we should have all of the 8 positions filled.
And I hope that those additional positions have been helpful.
Yes.
And
It's always helpful to add additional positions to
assisting in
enforcement.
getting these great statistics. Thank you
Yes.
so much.
Can I have
Okay.
staff stand up, just because, you know, we see names, but we don't see faces? Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for your report, and at this time, this is the adjournment of the meeting in record time. Thank you very much for everyone that attended and everyone that
We did it.
that presented before the board. Thank you very much.